And well, to discuss more on this, we're now being joined by Dr. Srinath Kondapalli from New Delhi. He's a professor of Chinese studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Welcome to WION, sir.
Srinath Kondapalli.
Now, post the LAC thaw, there have been a slew of meetings between India and China, including the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese president on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. And of course, the latest is that India's NSA has spoken to the Chinese foreign minister. But we've seen China's stance. China has backed Pakistan's impartial probe, and it has also called Operation Sindoor regrettable. I want to ask you, how do you see ties between Beijing and New Delhi panning out given this new situation that we are in?
Thank you for having me on this show. I think the Chinese position has been offensive as the Operation Sindoor has unveiled. Even though the foreign ministry spokesperson Lin Qian mentioned about his regret, behind the scenes, I think China is mobilizing and supporting Pakistan. We have seen the coordination between the Chinese J-10C aircraft, fighter aircraft, and the Chinese supplied JF-17 fighter aircraft in terms of their operations against the Indian Rafale aircraft. So this is a new phenomena that has happened as Operation Sindoor was unveiled, number one. Number two, there has been some talk by the Chinese policy makers in the public domain. One has mentioned about the red lines for China by suggesting if any Chinese are killed in any kinetic conflict between India and Pakistan, the Chinese would be actively participating on the Pakistani side. Second red line, it was mentioned about the CPEC projects,
right?
China-Pakistan Economic Corridor projects, where China invested $52 billion. So if some of these projects are damaged, it is the Chinese are suggesting they would actively participate in the conflict between India and Pakistan. Thirdly, there is some alluding to the Indus Water Treaty because this originates somewhere closer to Manasarovar and passes through Aksai Chin, enters into Ladakh. From there, it is discharged into Pakistan occupied areas. So the Chinese seems to be upping the ante on the water, even though the only 20% of the Indus is into the catchment area here. So there is the multi-pronged kind of Chinese assistance to Pakistan, both in the military kinetic manner, training software related, as well as in terms of the other issues that are coming up. So what we see is China's role is becoming more animated, even though the NSA, Mr. Ajit Doval, spoke to Wang Yi, the foreign minister, and said there will be escalation if there is any, kinetic conflict in the India-Pakistan context.
Right, Dr. Kondapalli, you've clearly stated how China has its own vested interest in Pakistan, and China has offered a multi-pronged assistance to Islamabad. I want to ask you, as of now, do you think that there are any possible diplomatic or economic or strategic pathways that can be used to diffuse tensions between India and China? We do know that India has been unable to put constraints on expanding economic ties with China.
Well, the larger issue is President Trump's tariffs are affecting China. They're really pinching them in terms of their growth rate, in terms of exports, in terms of their trade arrangements with a number of countries. This is also because China does a lot of round tripping using other countries for exports like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and others, Mexico. So these countries are now becoming more opposed to China's, diversion of exports, and so there is a restriction that is coming up with these. So that is the larger game that is happening, and in that context, China doesn't want to see some of the multinational corporations moving away from the China market. As you know, the Apple has announced that most of its iPhones will be manufactured in India instead of in the Changzhou factory in China.
Right.
So the Chinese role in terms of the Pakistan, the escalation in terms of Pakistan is in the background of that Apple moving away, or other companies now announcing the diversion from China to other markets like Vietnam and India. So there is a new conflict that is brewing up in the trade front in terms of these companies moving away from China.
By that you mean the China +1 strategy. But thanks very much, Dr. Kundapalli, for joining us on WION and sharing your insights with us.